Hi there, it's Kevin with the Rogue Deck Builder here with this week's episode of the Rogues Alley. So I'm going to try to bring back Rogues Alley and Tuesday Brews Day. Tuesday Brews Day, hopefully I can get my act together and actually start posting things on Tuesdays with a new brew. Rogues Alley, I think I'm just going to play any old deck that I'm working on. Maybe we'll have people vote on the decks that I play on the Rogues Alley and just give you about an hour session worth of gameplay for the decks that I'm playing on Arena, or possibly we can go over to Pioneer or into some Modern. I do want to check out a new Soul Sisters brew with Heliod and Walking Ballista that I think will work pretty well. Same thing with Pioneer. I've got a brew that in Pioneer that no one's really tried out with that sort of combo. More of a way to dig for it than naturally just find it. Like the Heliod brews are building right now. So anyway, we'll get to that, and still definitely do want to check in on Pauper. It's been a long time since I played Pauper, but I am still having fun with Standard, which is weird for me to say because I've been pretty anti-Standard for a long time. I do think there are some annoying cards in Standard, like I've said before in other videos. Embercleave, Teferi, Narset are three cards that I could... Possibly, I mean, I could live without them existing, and I think most of us are with me on that sentiment. Embercleave is the most obnoxious card ever. It's not, in my opinion, broken or busted. It's just obnoxious, and it leads to some blowout losses and blowout wins when you have cards like Aether Gust to really shut it down. But anyway, let's not talk about the state of Standard. Let's get into some brews. First of all, I wanted to update on the progress to the Mythic. Got as high as 76 is the highest I've been. I'm down to 128, but I was all the way down in the 1200s last night. I ended up in frustration switching over to Temur Adventures to see how well Temur Adventures worked for me, and that's where I found my new favorite addition to this deck. So I've updated the Sultai list quite a bit, and it is completely different. Well, not really. We've added a card called a Fae of Wishes. So this was my adventure, with Temur Adventures that I had with Fae of Wishes, and realized that this card is really good in decks that can utilize the mana. So right now, Fae of Wishes is seeing play in like Temur Adventures or Fires of Invention, because they really can utilize the mana that Fae of Wishes is to go, like Fires of Invention, you can just turn the 4 mana into setting up your next turn for whatever card you need to cast for free with Fires of Invention. And then it's also super good with the discard 2 cards, so you can pay the 2 mana to discard 2 cards, return Fae of Wishes to your hand, and then go tutor up another threat and cast with Fires of Invention. So it's good in that, and it's of course good in the Temur Adventure deck where they are casting... a lot of the spells from their sideboard are going to be the win cons. They really grind you out with the value that Temur Adventure gets with the Lucky Clovers and the, I'm trying to think of the 1-drop, the Innkeeper. And then Fae of Wishes is just a really good answer. Like it's basically your deck is a 75-card deck, not a 60 with a 15-card sideboard, because you have access to all of it. So I thought, why not try this in Ramp? Ramp is another deck that has access to a lot of mana, so being able to cast the granted side of Fae of Wishes and then go get a sideboard card can be done in one turn, no problem. So you can go granted and then grab something like a Thought Distortion from your sideboard. And I tested it out, and this card is definitely the missing piece. I still felt favorable versus Blue-Eye Control, but it was like a, I don't know, 55, 60, 65% matchup. They could still get these draws that could outpace you. Now with Fae of Wishes, that matchup is so lopsided in our direction. One of the other problems with the blue-white matchup was it was a best of 3, not a best of 1. Best of 1, the matchup was not in your favor. I a lot of times would lose game 1 because you just don't want a sideboard that was meant to beat blue-white. But then game 2 and 3, you were very favored with cards like Thought Collapse and Mystical Dispute, and bring in a lot of the answers for the blue-white control to then grind them out. Fae of Wishes just gives you access game 1 to the sideboard cards that are really good against blue and white. I have thought about adding even other cards like the Shadow Spear, which Temur Adventures runs as ways to beat like red. However, the sideboard is already very constrained. In fact, I put over all of our finishers. Every finisher from this deck is now going to be in the sideboard, and something Fave Wishes can go tutor up. It does leave us a little bit susceptible to cards that can rip out our Fave Wishes, like Unmoored Ego. We can still grind them down with like Hydrocrisis or Casual Wars locks, and Plukernos is still in here, Euro is still in here. So we do have finishers, not like big finishers that I have included in the past in this list. So if we go over to, the other addition is Gilded Goose. I thought between Gilded Goose and Fave Wishes, my red matchup is still dismal. I mean, we're like a 30% underdog versus just red deck or any Embercleave based deck. It's just one of those matchups that you just have to succeed. But right now there's a lot of the more grindy, the ramp decks are starting to pick back up, the Fires of Invention decks are starting to pick back up, Wilderness Reclamation, and Blue Eye Control definitely is the most played matchup you will face, especially in the high rank mythics. So having a deck that is more tuned for those matchups, I think, is more important than going up against your random red deck. Now there are a few top 100 players, top 200 for sure, of red, but that not very many. The vast majority of people that are like top 250 are going to be in something besides red, because the Embercleave red decks, although they're good, are very easy to shut down right now with like cards like Brazen Borrower and the Aether Gust. And they just have some also pretty just terrible matchups. One of them is UI Control. UI Control is just very favored in UI Controls against the mono red. So I don't think you can play a deck right now that when you're going to be seeing so much Blue Eye Control and be able to do reasonably well. So we're just going to succeed the red matchup. However, with Gilded Goose and Fave Wishes, I have stolen some games where you just get out this big chump block and then hit like a lucky Find Finality. It is only a 1 of in the main, or you get the Euro and a Tameo and then recast Euro, and you can just get there. There was one game where I was able to stall, and then Fave Wishes went and got a Cry of the Carnarium, and then that wiped my opponent's board, and we barely held on. So there will be those games where you do just get lucky. Game 2 gets a little bit better because you can bring your a bunch of the cards into your main and then cut some of the stuff like Casualty of War. But one of the good thing about Fave Wishes too, putting everything in our sideboard, because we don't have to draw those cards against mono red. So we're hitting everything that's gas versus mono red. Our curve is pretty low. Besides Casualty Wars, we're casting everything by turn 3 usually with a ramp spell, and that way it gives us a chance to actually, like I said, steal some games where they get like 5 lands and they run out of cards and stuff like that. So still a terrible matchup, but it's not where it once was, which was just horrible. I mean, it still really is, but we haven't really lost anything against mono red by adding these changes, and we've really gained a ton versus the rest of the matchups. So let's go over to the sideboard. One other change, I have added a 4 of Tameo. So 4 Gilded Goose and 4 Tameos is the big change. Cut like the Wolfwheel Havens down to a 2. Got rid of Paradise Druid. Paradise Druid's curve's kind of awkward in this. Yeah, it can go to a 4 drop, but oftentimes you're getting there anyway with like Growth Spiral, and so Gilded Goose is really just doing better what the Paradise Druid does. Oh, speaking of which, Fave Wishes is also really good for cards like Gilded Goose and Wolfwheel Haven. These are all ammo that you can get rid of late game. So these are going to be dead cards versus the vast majority of matchups, and now you can Fave Wishes them away and then go get something relevant out of your sideboard. So finally, speaking of our sideboard, let's hop over to the sideboard for this deck. So right now I've cut down the Mystical Disputes and Aether Gust. Mystical Dispute ended up being like an awkward card. It's good versus some of the Reclamation decks. It's good versus, of course, the Fires of Invention. I'll bring it in just to try to hit a Teferi. But Teferi really is the problem with Mystical Dispute. There will be plenty of hands where Teferi just comes down before I have the opportunity to really cast a Mystical Dispute. Or it just makes your curve quite awkward if you have to hold up mana to counter a Teferi to begin with. And so it's one of these cards that I don't think is justified for the sideboard at the moment, with a lot of these Narset Teferi type decks that you just come down too early. And it's once you get up to, you'll be surprised in this format where countering a spell unless they pay 3 means that they're paying 3, and it's going to happen. They're going to be able to cast their card, and there's nothing you can do about it, especially in the UI Control matchup. So Mystical Dispute down to a 1 of is a gotcha trick and always keep them on their toes. Aether Gust down to a 2 of. This is, again, more of succeeding to the fact that a lot of the green decks are also going into white now. So you have to worry about Teferi coming down and not being able to Aether Gust their cards at that point. Or there's just a lot of the threats that green is producing or aren't things that we really care to Aether Gust. Aether Gust main 2 targets that are really good against are going to be Embercleave or anything from the mono red matchup, which we're already kind of seceding, or Fires of Invention. Those are the 2 that this card is super, super good against. But the rest of the matchups that are running like green and red, it's just not that big of an issue. There's not a lot of Nissa decks running around anymore. And if that's the case, you want to be out valuing them anyway. You don't want to be doing these 1-for-1s. So Aether Gust down to a 2 of. Narset. Narset I've added in because there are so many matchups where Narset is super good against. One is the blue-green ramp deck. So if you can get a Narset out before your opponent, that can really mess them up with their Euros and their growth spirals. So I do like Narset. It's also a nice way to dig for the specific card that you need, and it's just really good versus the blue-white matchup. Cry the Carnarium is still something we can use versus food, as well as red sacrifice, as well as mono red. It's kind of weird against mono red if they have either the Torbran or the even not a Kiln Fiend, a Steamkin that's above 2. Or the Annex. Those are all rough cards for it. And Ritual of Soot's pretty rough against mono red too because of Annex leaving back tokens at that point. But it's still good to have 1 of and a 1 of Ritual of Soot as something your sideboard you can go, of course, with your fairy, go grab. Ashiok Dreamrender is really good versus a lot of decks use their graveyards, which are more and more these days. I'll bring it in versus most of those control decks. As even like Wilderness Reclamation or against blue-white control, you can actually mill them with 1 Ashiok and then have a Tamiyo get back in Ashiok. That is a ton of cards if you can get enough of the -1s. I've had that scenario happen multiple times with Wilderness Reclamation decks. Newest edition, Unmoored Ego. This is super good versus 2 of the matchups right now in the format. 1 is, of course, Wilderness Rec. If you take Expansion to Explosion, they are pretty much done. 2, it's good against UI control. You take Dream Trawler, they're pretty much done. It's pretty good against ramp deck too, because if you take something like Agent of Treachery, or if you take their Finale of Devastation, whatever their win condition is in that deck, it's pretty decent to come in against. And again, a lot of times you're not even bringing this in. It's just in your sideboard. Be like, oh, look, I have 7 mana. Fave Wish is granted into the Unmoored Ego, and there you go. The other card is the Ritual. So we talked about, notice how there's no green cards on the sideboard. That might change. Maybe a Return to Nature would be good in the sideboard or whatnot, but I haven't really found a need at the moment for it. Ashiok Nightmare Muse. This is just a really good card overall, and this is one of the threats that is now in the sideboard. So we moved it from the main to the side because we're going to Fey for it, and then Ashiok's going to be able to close out the game when we've already controlled the game down. I think that's where it wants to be. Enter the God Eternals is now in the sideboard. Liliana Dreadhorde General is also in the sideboard, and the 2 of Thought Distortions are still in the sideboard, still the MVP in the deck. This is still something that is really good against blue-eye control and Wilderness Reclamations and all that sort of shenanigans. Alrighty, so there is the update to now that we're 12 minutes into this video, of the Sultai control, Sultai ramp, whatever you want to call this, my pet deck that I've been working on and tuning, fine-tuning. Yeah. Anyway, let's go and look at some of the decks that I have been brewing with. So first of all, this was the Gnarlback deck. We'll be playing this one today. Maybe I'll give this one a shot, and my Enigmatic deck. Gnarlback is a card out of the Planeswalker deck. So this is a card that was not meant to be good enough for Standard. And I happened upon this just as an accident. Gnarlback Rhino was a card that I found a bit of arbitration with. So that's the terminology in MTG Finance, where you find a seller that is selling it to you less than a buyer is buying it for. So I bought a bunch of Gnarlback Rhinos for 23 cents and then was going to sell them to Card Kingdom for 39 cents for store credit, and then just do the Card Kingdom shuffle. And if you want to learn about that, go check my finance channel out. We talk about MTG Finance a ton over at the Rogue Market, and it's something I do as a hobby and actually to make money and actually make playing Magic way more affordable. And I highly suggest everyone kind of play this game and know the value of their cards and know, good outlets to actually move their cards. So Gnarlback Rhino was a card that I just came across with wow, why is this card being paid for more? And then I actually read what the card does. And this is super playable in Standard. This is basically heroic, draw a card. I'm what shell would Gnarlback Rhino really fit in? And then it just, man, Gruul Adventures. This card just seems super duper good in Gruul Adventures. Now, it does take the place of Questing Beast. I don't think you can play both in the deck, so you're trading the speed of Questing Beast for the sheer value of Gnarlback Rhino if it sticks around. So I've put this in an adventure deck list where we're starting off with the Edgewall Innkeeper and the Rimrock Knight, because the Rimrock Knight actually targets, and we're actually going to have Season of Growth. So you're going to be drawing cards off of Edgewall Innkeeper for adventure cards, you're going to be drawing cards off Season of the Growth, or you're going to be drawing cards off into the Gnarlback Rhino. The next card that we're going to run a full playset is Collision to Colossus. Has great synergy with Embercleave. It can kill flying creatures, so it can actually tap down Dream Trawler at instant speed, which is super important if you haven't seen that happen in Standard. That's a lot of times the difference between winning or losing. To get that 3/5 lifelink or tap down the turn after it comes down, or just the Colossus can give something +4/+2. That's the synergy it has with Embercleave, and it has synergy with cards like Lovestruck Beast. Those cards need trample. The other one is Domri's Ambush. Domri's Ambush is put a +1 counter on a creature you control, and that deals damage to target planeswalker or creature you don't control. So this is another way to cantrip with Seasons Growth or Gnarlback Rhino and remove something and make a little bit bigger of a creature that stays behind. Then we have Thrash to Threat. Thrash to Threat is just like Domri's Ambush. It's instant speed, deal damage to a creature or planeswalker. You don't get the +1 with counter. Or, since this deck is very light on the creatures, we get a 4/4 red and green beast creature token with trample. For 4 mana, that's not terrible to have. I wish this was instant. They really should have made Threat an instant as well. I don't think this card would be necessarily any more like the power wanted to be that this was an instant, but we're still pretty impressed with Thrash. Thrash to Threat's pretty good. You can also get some other cards out of Boros that have the double, or even Rakdos, like the Bedeck to Bedevil. Maybe I even add some black in this, and that way you can cast the other side of them. And those are kind of interesting in this deck as well. But anyway, Thrash to Threat, Domri's Ambush, Collision to Colossus, plus Rimrock Knight seem to be enough cards to actually trigger off the adventure aspect of it. And then we have the adventure cards of Bonecrusher Giant, and this isn't something you necessarily care about targeting because it does 2 damage to you when you target it, but it's still something that's fine to use an ambush on to make it into a 5/4 and kill something your opponent has. And then the Lovestruck Beast, of course, is the other adventure card that's super good in this. Since we're going to be running Lovestruck Beast with a bunch of one drops and 2 drops, Castle Embereth's fine in here, and the Embercleave is also great in here. So I thought about the other adventure card that gives +2/+2 for 2 mana, but it's 4 mana to cast, and it's just very, very awkward for this deck, so there's no place for it. There wasn't really a place for any other cards for adventure's sake in this one. We have one other adventure card in the sideboard, which is the Embereth Shieldbreaker, because it kills artifacts, so it's pretty good. Other than that, I haven't really tuned the sideboard. You can always tell a deck is like brand spanking new when the sideboard has a bunch of 4-ofs, because you just don't know the right numbers for every given matchup. 4 of Cindervines seems good. There's plenty of artifacts and enchantments you can kill in this format, and there's plenty of Dirtle decks that don't do anything and cast a bunch of spells. Speaking of one that kind of punishes that, the Klothys, God of Destiny, is in here too. And then we have Questing Beast and Shifting Ceratops, so we need to be a little bit quicker. Again, there could be so many cards in the sideboard. We're not going to focus too much on the sideboard. In fact, I don't know if I'm going to play any best of 3s right now. So let's go ahead and play a couple games with this bad boy, the Gnarlback, and see how well it performs. And then we will give a go with the Enigmatic deck. We'll do a deck tech for that as well. All right, so let's go and we'll do a tournament. Let's put our money where our mouth is. So let's just do a standard event. So this is a best of 1 event, and we will choose our deck. We will choose the Gnarlback deck and see what we do. Last tournament I did, I went 4-3. What did I do with this? Because it's 3 losses before you're out. Had some good matchups versus like Red and Knights. So your typical other aggro decks did pretty good against, and then didn't do very well against the control matchups. So we'll see if we can actually run across a diverse meta here. Most people that keep playing in these type of ones are just mono red Embercleave spamming. We'll go ahead and mulligan this. This is a terrible hand. This one's okay. We need to do a draw outlet, whether it be a Innkeeper or a Seasons Growth. Was that called Seasons Growth? Anyway, whatever the enchantment is that draws a card. We talked about it on the sideboard. But this is an okay hand. We have a Stomping Grounds Forest, Castle Embereth, Domri's Ambush, Thrash Threat, Lovestruck Beast. So we have action. Lots of action. We'll get 2 5/5s out, 2 1/1s. Super good card. All right, we are going to throw back I think that we don't need a Domri's Ambush is the weak link. I think Thrash is just slightly better because it's more versatile. So we'll start off with a Lovestruck Beast, a Heart's Desire, and then we can put a tap land and put out another 1/1. Ooh, I don't like this matchup so far. We'll stomp and put out another 1/1. And then pass the turn. Possibly could have attacked in there. No, because it leaves back the lifelink. Then it... Well, it's kind of like a... 100 Witness is kind of... Okay, this is a lifelink deck. So the good news is we can actually get rid of the threats that are going to be relevant. So we'll do Castle Embereth here. And Lovestruck Beast. And to be honest, I think we actually attack in... with one of them. Would he block with a lifelinker? I'm just going to hold it back. That's probably bad to hold it back. I just don't want another lifelinker out right now. And then have a Lovestruck Beast. So we do need to... Well, that's just obnoxious. So now we probably need to fight down the 3/2. Okay, now we got a Bonecrusher Giant that we can take care of the 2/2 lifelinker. So that's probably what we'll end up doing. And we probably should main phase this because I don't want land drop and then give things indestructible. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I don't think we need to main phase it. Let's just go ahead. We need both the mana for Thrash and Bonecrusher. So I don't know what sort of combat tricks they may have. So probably should have main phased that now, to be honest with you. Okay, first strike, loyalty, that doesn't matter. So coming with the Healer's Hawk and a Loyal Pegasus. So we'll Bonecrusher Giant on the Healer's Hawk. And I still think it is reasonable to kill the Loyal Pegasus. But we need to stop drawing these lands, first of all. And this is the problem when you don't have any sort of draw, is now we're just... So we have a 3-card disadvantage right now from the lands, sort of-ish. I mean, we've been able to get our cards down. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to... our opponent has gas in their hand, is the problem. Another 100 Witness. That one's a weaker one. And it doesn't look like our opponent's coming in. And now we have a Collision to Colossus, which, I mean, we could start getting it for damage, but I think it still is right to just go another Bonecrusher Giant just to kind of save pace with them and pass the turn. Because Lovestruck Beast will just trade with like a Venerary Loxodon and 100 Witness, and even if we have to use a Collision Colossus, that just feels bad. Now, the Castle Ardenvale is going to give us a bit of an issue here because if there's one more... Or 2 more mana, I guess. I guess we're okay for now. We don't need to start getting antsy. So we do need a payoff. All right, so Giant Killer is super annoying because another card is going to 2-for-1 us. However, opponent still can't really attack in. Their Season's Growth. Perfect. So now that gives us a little more oomph. Jeez. Rimrock can get in there. So does my opponent just trade the Venerary Loxodon with the Bonecrusher Giant? Like, I'll trade for 2 Hunted Witnesses. A 2/1 and a 1/1. Now, we'll do the Lovestruck Beast. Lovestruck Beast is going in. So, Hunted Witness... Is it worth it to get through damage? At this point, I think it is. So we'll give it Trample. And we'll just cast both of them, actually. Oh, that was awful. I could have, like, waited for a big Embercleave. So this does put my opponent under some pressure, though. They're down to a 10. And might as well just cast this. Opponent can actually swing on the backswing here. Possibly that could be bad if my opponent has got to pump everything. Just going to cast a Giant Killer. Oh, yay. I was worried about the Unbreakable Formation, but does my opponent just die on the backswing? We can block here and then absorb 1 here, and I think it's okay just to take 9. Yeah, that dumb Unbreakable Formation. Knew it was coming. So we're down to 11. Threat is still fine. Now we can kill off Venerate Loxodon. Let's get out the Gnarlback, because now I want to actually use it on the Gnarlback, so Thrash is fine. So what's the other? I think Giant Killer is the better card just to kill, and I don't need to kill it right now. I think we still want to hold everything back. Unfortunately, I think that's the play. Giant Killer taps something out for 2 mana. My opponent doesn't have a lot of mana to work with. So let's see if we can out card advantage them now with the Gnarlback. That was kind of a rough card, the banner. Ooh, that's a really rough card. We can still kill the Giant Killer. We could also kill a Hunted Witness. My opponent can't attack in that favorably. We could also kill this Eidolon, if that's going to be the biggest issue. Because I definitely want to use the Gnarlback for the Thrash. So going to tap down the Lovestruck Beast. Ugh, yeah. So we probably need to, we're going to Thrash. You, target creature control, you are going to deal damage to that. So we get to draw 2 cards. We get a trade with one of the Hunted Witnesses, kill one of the soldiers, and I will throw the Venerated Loxodon in the mix. So we're still alive. Did not want to see that card. That was the worst of cards. Can't quite kill my opponent because now I can't even attack in with the Lovestruck. What do we need? Red here? Yeah, that's fine. Can't block with Rimrock Knight, so it's kind of pointless to play it. So let's go with the Gnarlback number 2. And ambush. Bonecrusher Giants would be great. So ambush the Venerated Loxodon. Because they don't fight, it just... And we get 2 more cards. Unfortunately, we don't have a land drop here. And we just have to hold back. But I'm actually seeming in pretty good shape. Like I said, the card disadvantage has been pretty terrible with the lands. Another banner does get kind of awkward again. Opponent's going to tap down the Lovestruck Beast. No, decides not to. So we have Collision of Colossus still. Bonecrusher Giant can only kill off a soldier. I almost want to target one of my own cards to draw a card. Well, let's go ahead and scry. Or do I want to attack in with everything? Let's go to combat and see what my opponent does with the Giant Killer. Okay, no attacks, huh? Huh. Because Gnarlback will get +4/+2. Possibly we need to attack in, because we have Bonecrusher we can actually just cast and kill things, and we'll have... Well, my opponent can tap down both of these. So actually, well, then I'll have this as a blocker. and then only have one attacker. So I think that's actually worthwhile. So let's go with the Gnarlback Rhino. No, nope. No attacks. Bonecrusher just needs to cast right now to kill off the soldier. That's the only safe thing. Because we need to cast the Bonecrusher. And I should be out card advantage my opponent, but not to raise the alarms. Okay, but it can't tap down any things. Jeez. All right, the gas from my white opponent deck. Rimrock is horrid. Do you know what Rimrock can? Do we need to actually give something +4/+2? So I'm actually going to cast Rimrock here. It's still the better play, I think. Yeah, at least when we scry away every land left in our deck. How many lands on the bottom now? Oh, just 2. All right, just draw a land, my friend. Just a land. You just want a land. Just a land. Oh, that'll do it. So I guess we should have kept back the Colossus because a Fairy Godmother off the top just wins and nothing has reach. See, that was... I feel pretty bad with that. Yeah, that was a mistake. Should have just gone the Colossus. That would have been a kind of a blowout. We still would have had to deal with... But the card disadvantage from the lands was 4. You could save the Heraldic Banners, but those were actually Anthem effects. And we're going to start to outdraw them pretty quickly there. All right, let's play another one. They had a very, very decent hand. Must be nice to draw 4 lands. Must be nice. I think it's keepable. The bad thing is we're not doing anything for a couple turns. I probably should have kept this. Like, we really, 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 really want to land next turn. And another, what's up with these? I guess, like, Mike Red must be huge in this format. This, like, because it's going to have its own meta. So I'm used to playing in Mythic, of course. Mythic, best of 3. So I kind of know the meta for that. But I wonder in this meta if, like, Mono Red, Embercleave spam is just everywhere. Huh. Do I just make this trade? Yes, we do. Yeah, I think I have to make that trade. Now I'm kicking myself. No, because we can still threat. We can still do threat. That's fine. Don't want another Rimrock. I should have actually used the Fabled Passage first. Yeah, whatever. We'll go grab another red source. Green source, red source, doesn't matter. So, Pridebait's getting through. Yikes. That is going to be rough, because we're definitely killing Linden here. That sucks. Okay, so you're going to kill you. And draw me a card. Awesome. Unfortunately, it's not what I want. I want another card, though. So we're going to attack in, and we're going to go Colossus. Perfect. Okay. Now, if Pridemate doesn't get a counter, I think we're going to start pulling ahead with the season's growth. If not, it might just be the same nonsense with... Ay. Okay, well, Pridemate's going to be an issue. Pridemate just barely got... No, I can actually kill Pridemate here if I wanted to. Yes, I think we do. I think we want to kill Pridemate here. So, Rimrock's going to get some collision or some Colossus going. And then Rimrock is going to ambush the Pridemate. And then, unfortunately, Rimrock's just got to attack in. So, I still feel behind, but not terribly behind. Because we did take care of the Johnny's Pridemate. Pacifism's okay. We're taking 3 here. Because we can still use cards like Ambush. Giant Killer. Giant Killer can tap stuff down. So, do I want to go like Edgewall Innkeeper, kill the Giant Keeper, and then have a 2/2 back? Or I think we just get the Gnarlback down here. And I think I actually do want no, we have 2 kill spells in our hand. We desperately want a land. I was whining about lands before. So I don't see lethal happening. I see like tap down Giant Killer here. Well, that's super annoying. Maybe I do. Now I definitely want that card back. Because now Healer's Hawk gets another counter. Alright, my opponent is out of cards. My opponent is out of cards. So, unfortunately, geez, I can't do this. We're in an ambush. Gets a counter, though. And then gets another counter because of Heliod. But we have to kill this, so do we want to ambush the Giant Killer first? And then that puts a +1 counter on the Healer's Hawk. And then we can kill the Healer's Hawk with Threat. Ay. So, we're going to go Threat. Ugh, this is so bad. We're going to go Thrash first. So, you are going to fight you. Really? All right. And then you are going to fight you. Unfortunately, that is a Castle Embereth. The thing is, like, the Daxos now gets 2 counters. So if I now put out a Stomping Grounds, pay 2 life, and then go Edgewall Innkeeper, it's the only way I can actually survive here. So another Gnarlback might be not what we want. And that was so close. So the Heliod Daxos combo happens. And I have to throw the Edgewall Innkeeper in front of... And we're just going to lose this too when my opponent just gets another Azliz of Life's Bounty. I am liking the way this is performing, though. We've just been one step behind both games. And it's had some, like, awkward... where the opponents have just curved perfectly. That's super annoying because that turns Heliod back on. So we got to go here. Unfortunately, I can't like get rid of my Domri's, my pacifism to turn off Heliod. And now this is where it's going to get really tricky. Like Rimrock Knight just to draw a card or Season's Growth. So we'd want the Embereth. We do need to draw a card. Now that was like the best case scenario, because now we can fight off... No, can't still quite fight off. Okay, perfect. So we'll do it again. Yeah, these Stomping Grounds. And now we can fight off... Do I want to go Season... No. Unfortunately, I still need... blockers. I'm so dead to like anything here. I unfortunately don't want that. I'll do Lovestruck Beast since it's a better 1/1 target too. I think I do want another Gnarlback at this point. No, because I wanted to like buff up one creature. Oh, whoops, I was going to scry that away. I think I will attack in. This is kind of risky because if they draw another Daxos... No. I think I'm okay. Daxos, then I have... Oh, I only have one blocker. Daxos just loses me the game. Yeah, this is a terrible decision. I have to give it one more. Because Daxos just like... Yeah, that would have lost me the game. No, it wouldn't have. That was dumb of me to actually... But yes, I can actually kill the Archon. My opponent is now deciding if they want to attack it with Heliod, which they do. Okay, awesome. I will make this trade with the Venerated Loxodon. Perfect. And also block there. So Heliod's back away. And now I'm glad that I kept that on top. I was wanting to throw it away. So probably just wanted Colossus right now. Just to get it over with. And then we want to draw some cards. So we'll go Edgewall Innkeeper. And throw the Forest away. And then Lovestruck Beast. And throw that land away. And I can get in there for one now. Pretty safe. Are we going to stabilize one? But look, my opponent has 4 lands again. This is like... I guess... Oh, there's the 5th land. I can quit whining. Alright, so now we're in really good... there's the concession. We survive at 1. Oh, hopefully my mic's not too loud now. I'm looking at the levels and it's way high. My apologies. Let me turn that sucker down. My mic is so weird. Sometimes it's like super low and then shoots off the radar. Okay, let's keep on going with this deck. And again, I hope if you guys enjoy these kind of sessions, I don't like to live stream these, but we could start because I can never find a time, like a set time. I just play when the store's slow or I've got everything done, and that depends on the day of when that happens. Hey, we can go for an Embercleave win here with this deck. Actually, this is probably a pretty terrible keep. We need an adventure off the top. But anyway, I would love to live stream, but it is difficult for me to find a set time to do so. But Rogue's Alley, I think, will just be my weekly session of playing more off the beaten path. So this is a particular challenge with Gnarlback because I just wanted to see if I can actually make it work. Geez, do I just kill the Fabled Passage here? No, let's go Mountain. Another white deck. I think everyone's sick of red. I'm not even going to give chance of anything happening. We're Bonecrushing this away. Unfortunately, though, we need to hit like another land. I guess I can go Season's Growth. But this is a terrible target for Season's Growth. All right, another one coming down. But look at these. It's 3 lifelink decks in a row. That's pretty terrible. I think that we just want to Rimrock Knight out to give us a target. Yeah. That's more of a solid play, in my opinion, because we can go Rimrock Knight this turn, and then next turn we can actually pump it. with a Season's Growth and then another Rimrock. I wonder if the other way around would be better. No, because we lose 2 damage. No, it's probably not important. Yeah, so we're gonna go season of growth. And then attack with Rimrock Knight. Can they do anything instant speed? +2/+2. Probably going to be +2/+2 and indestructible. I still think I want a card, though. We're at desperation mode right here. So we still get to draw a card no matter what. Yeah, and we still get a card out of my opponent's hand. And we get a decent card off of the Edgewall Innkeeper. We can actually go Edgewall Innkeeper and Thrash next turn, which doesn't seem like a... No, Edgewall Innkeeper, Rimrock Knight, which doesn't seem like a bad play. So we'll get a card off. We'll get 2 scries and a card. And my opponent missed a land drop, so we're in great shape. I don't want a mountain. I'd rather have a green source, but that's fine. We get a draw on scry, which is awesome. What do you have for 2 mana that can actually interact with me, dude? Everything's like... It's funny because a lot of the removal spells right now are sorcery speed, and everything has haste and flash in this format. Now I don't want to keep this. I think we actually will throw back a land. Ooh, I do need the double. I'll keep 1 more land, but I have a feeling we're going to start flooding because that's how Arena works. All right. So we need to avoid the Havel Eidolon getting the auras, because every time they target one of your creatures with an aura... Yeah, this looks like it's hexproof. Like the... all the glitters decks, which we are going to be in a issue. So probably another indestructible card. Really? Opponents being defensive when they should be aggressive, in my opinion. Okay, so let's bait it out. It has another Karametra's. Now, which card would actually like to get plus... We want them to kill the Rimrock Knight when they get the removal. So we're going to go Domri's Ambush. Here to here. My opponent uses that instant speed. So now we can go Bonecrusher Giant at instant speed. Still gets to draw a card off of that. We still get a +1/+1 counter. We still get to throw a land into play. And we get to get down to 17 all here. Oath of Kaya. Should go for the Edgewall Innkeeper. Yeah, okay, good. My opponent is at least choosing the right card for... Do we just... So we can go Embercleave here? Is that like the better play? And really put the pressure? And then next turn... Or we can do next turn. I think this is actually better if we go Lovestruck Beast. So I'm going to go Lovestruck Beast. Ooh, we definitely want another Lovestruck Beast. Yeah, this is a better play. So, opponent's gotten really unlucky with missing land drops. See if Doom Foretold comes down here. Another Oath of Kaya. This one will hit the Rimrock Knight. Oh, they could hit that. Yeah, never mind. Yep, that was good. Good on my opponent's part, but ends up being the... Well, can I not kill it here? Attack, it gets reduced. I could try for a land. If we go Colossus, no. I think it's still better to just hold off one more turn. We could be running into a board wipe, though. I think I do want to land for next turn. Embercleave can come down this turn. Isn't that just lethal? Not quite. Down to a 1. So they need a Kaya's Wrath here? Or it's just... Alright, cool. Alright, we'll play one more with this deck. So we're climbing up this this tournament's already paid for itself. Where's the break-even point at this tournament? It was 500. Oh, so we'd have to win 4 wins. We'll play one more with the Gnarlback. And then we'll switch to the Enigmatic. I'll give you a deck tech for that sucker. And then we will call this session... Yeah, let's just actually keep playing this one. Maybe we'll play an Enigmatic another day. Having fun with this one. Yikes. We are a turn behind, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. We have, like, the 2 engines. The Edgewall Innkeeper and the Season of Growth. So, that is the right play. So we're going to just go ahead and get a green. No point, doing end of turn nonsense. Save some time. And we had a Thrash coming up. Thrash would have been pretty good. Now the question is, do I go just like Season Growth here? Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's any... Innkeeper's not doing anything at the moment. I guess we could have gone Innkeeper into Bonecrusher Giant, but I think we're going to end up using Bonecrusher Giant on something like a Goose. So this ends up giving us a good play next turn. So we're going to kill that Goose before... Looks like our first legit deck. So Embereth, Innkeeper. Definitely want that. We're going to Bonecrusher Giant on the Gilded Goose. Gilded Goose goes down. So now they have to play a Shockland to get that Teferi out. So at least that's better than the Rampant. It's probably like a Euro. Nope, it is Teferi. Teferi bouncing. Season's Growth? No, they need to Edgewall Innkeeper, otherwise I kill Teferi. That's fine. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to activate this, get a green source. Innkeeper. Which scries. We definitely want a Bonecrusher Giant. And we'll draw it. And we have answers for Teferi no matter what next turn. At this point, I think we want a land on the bottom. So this turn's like a Euro. Maybe a Hydroichrasis on 2. They're out of Cavalier range right now. Maybe a Risen Reef. It depends on the flavor of this deck. It's probably Euro. Like Elspeth isn't quite out. Elspeth Conquers Death. Hydroichrasis on 2. Yeah. Okay. So we get a double kill here. So we're gonna go Season of Growth. I think is the best line of play. And then we're going to ambush. Don't lose 2 life. We're actually going to do it this way. It's probably less effective for Embercleave, but it's more effective for killing off Teferi. and doing damage. But now we have to worry about Nissa next turn. And speak of the devil, there's Embercleave. The devil has spoken. We also have to worry about Shatter. Shatter the Sky as a board wipe. But I mean, we've already got value galore off of our stuff. And we actually do have Embercleave, which is it's 12 damage next turn. What's Collision? Collision's also going to be 12 damage with a Bonecrusher. Yeah, we did think Nissa. This is actually a pretty bad play for my opponent because they're going to get wiped here. All right, so how do I want to do this? Do I want to kill Nissa or just go for my opponent's throat here? I think we go for Nissa. All right, so pay 2 life. We go for Nissa. I go for Nissa with both of them and then get Embercleave out. And then Nissa just dies. I think I'm going to go like this. Okay, so Embercleave is kind of interesting here. I think it is Embercleave. Yeah. And then we Lovestruck Beast. And then that also lets us scry 2. And our opponent scoops it up. Look at our Seasons of Growth deck is just wrecking face. This is a good little deck. Oh, wow. We'll keep going. We'll keep going. Okay, we have our engine again. The little engine that could. The Edgewall Innkeeper and Season of Growth. I also thought about a Celestia version of this because there's a lot of targeting cards in Celestia. And maybe we'll have to try a Celestia version with the good old Gnarlback. And to be honest, Gnarlback isn't even that necessary for this deck. I think it deserves its spot, personally, after playing this deck quite a bit. But it's hard to compete with just a 4/4 Death Touch. Can't be blocked by creature with 2 or less. Haste, Vigilance. Hits opponent, also hits Planeswalker. Our opponent is opting, so we do get a free Season of Growth out. Unfortunately, or we could go for Lovestruck. Nah. Lovestruck Beast does curve better. Ooh. No, I think it's still Season. I haven't played against a Dimir deck in ages. Dimir does not have a card called Dream Trawler. Aww. Well, that's just rude. Take a Thrash to threat, man. I got 3 of them. You don't need my Lovestruck Beast. Yeah, take that. Take that. Oh, take the Thrash. All right, dude. Oh, that sucks. Unfortunately, I can't even target it. So we might just get locked out with bad. If my opponent then goes for, like, something here. Just throw out a Narset. No, throw out something I can actually use. Alright, Bonecrusher Giant is just going to be cast. So we get a draw. Perfect. Okay. And then we get a Scry. I actually do think I want another land. Collision to Colossus is fine. Yep, that's fine. Alright, Ritual Soot would be terrible here, and I'd cry. Opt is not so bad, but opt into Ritual Soot would be bad. Don't do it. Just put out a Narset. Narset's the best card. Come on. Just Narset away. Okay. So let's go ahead and attack in. And Sinister Sabotage. I'm just going to make him... Yeah, it's a Sinister Sabotage, right? So I don't want this Gnarlback. So we're just going to go ahead and just throw the threat out. It's going to get Sinistered. Kept it on top. Like, you scry everything but a Ritual of Soot, right? I guess. Ashiok's pretty bad here. The +2 or the +1's awful. That was not a good play. So now we're going to be able just to kill off Ashiok and get a ton of value. So I do not agree with my opponent's play here. Ooh, do we actually get a kill off? I can just kill off Ashiok by attacking in with Bonecrusher Giant into Ashiok. Yeah, that's... Or, do I have lethal? No, I'm one off of lethal. Or, I attack in. Threat. So if we go... oh, I'm one off for that. So we'll attack into Ashiok. And Ashiok does die. So Colossus. Now I wish I would have... Oh, an ambush. Ashiok is dead. Ashiok's at 1. Huh. Let's just cast a Rimrock Knight. Yeah, I should have attacked in. That was dumb. Fabled Passage is bad at this point. Yeah, that was a mistake. Why was I thinking that it was dead with just the Bonecrusher Giant? Because now if we get board wiped, then we're in terrible shape. But that wouldn't have been a board wipe there. Thought Erasure is not bad. It's just going to take a Thrash. Ritual of Soot would be pretty good too. Because then it would force me to Thrash and then kill Ashiok, which, yeah, I messed up. I messed up big time. And some of these times with these decks, just going to the face is the better. Drown in the Lock. So I still get to kill off Ashiok. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll Thrash. Let's actually do it with the Gnarlback, of course. Draws us 2 cards. Don't want the Forest. So, Gnarlback, kill. Gives 2 cards, and of course they are... Oh, that's fine. We get a Rimrock out of that. And kill the Ashiok, 1 damage. Still don't feel it in very good shape versus control, though. We do have 2 draw outlets out, so if my opponent does not take care of my board, goes like another Ashiok, we're in great shape. Because then we just go Rimrock to the... We just attack with everything Rimrock. Okay, so should get rid of Rimrock here. Oh, I disagree with that. Because I think an excess Gnarlback is not where we want to be. Ritual Soot also is not that great. Because it leaves back Gnarlback. And, I mean, there's so many top decks. Cry the Carnarium's also not that great. And Embercleave just wins it. Yep. Pay 2 life. We don't even need to do this. But let's act like we top deck it. Oh, let's not even show him the Embercleave. Let's just... Yeah. Boom. So there's another win. Against, I mean, it's blue-black control. It's legit against most red decks-ish. I mean, it's got game versus everything. The problem with, like, what blue-black control right now in the meta is, like, blue-white does everything better than blue-black. And it's just like a jump behind everything in Standard right now. Like, Thought Erasure, those type of cards aren't that consistent. They're good early, but they're not always good early. But they're terrible late in most situations. And so, like, this blue-black, let's take out the cards in your hand and then establish a threat is a pretty bad situation when half the decks are top deck decks, like ramp decks. You consider those top deck. They can just top deck one card that gets them right back into the game, like Hydroid Krasis or Nissa or whatnot. And then you have the other ones where you can't be spending turn 2 on ripping out a card out of their hand. You have to, or blue-white control, too. They're just going to outvalue with Teferis and Narsets at that point. So, yeah, blue-black is just kind of left out. Just not that great matched up with. Everything has haste. Everything has flash. Everything draws a card. All right, let's go on to another one. 4-1 is not bad. Not bad. Let's hopefully we can get through this tournament. This ends up being a pretty fast deck, too. I've been playing it pretty slow, but there is some decisions to be made with it. Definitely think, what do you think of the comment section of how far this has performed? We've seen 2 lifelink decks, a hexproof deck, and kind of a control deck, and the perfect type of control deck. Because, again, the Ritual Soot / Cry Carnarium doesn't hit everything in our deck. It's going to leave back, at least like in that case, the Gnarlback. This is one of those hands that's awkward because we don't have either one of our engines. I'm going to go ahead and keep it, though, because this Lovestruck Beast is pretty good. Another... Well, I have not a clue what this is, actually. And we did not want to see the... Oh, we have Gnarlback. Gnarlback's actually really good. What am I talking about? It is targets for... And it's on curve with this... You want a human too? Let's both make humans. Come on, inquisitive puppet. Turn into a human. Steel Overseer. Do I need to kill that? I think I do. So... Forest. I hate to use this right now, but you're gonna kill you. Bye, Steel Overseer. I always forget that that's in Standard right now. There's just not a lot of artifacts that synergize with it besides Gingerbrew. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a All That Glitters deck. So we do need to get turn in here. We need Lovestruck Beast out. Is this Defender or can it attack? It actually can, huh? Well then. Okay. Well, I mean, that was just awful with Steel Overseer times 2 would have been rough. And a Stone Coil Swipant. So if I draw another removal spell, I'll use it. Unfortunately, I think I got to use it here. Good news is we can... No, we can't. We do have to shock. Yeah. Right? We go Lovestruck Beast. It gets too much advantage at that point. Get out of here, Steel Overseers. Kapow. And we'll play defensive. Probably not a good idea with all that glitters going on. Nope, it's an Arcanist owl with a glass casket that's coming up. So I could just Colossus and be done with it. So I think the better play here is just Edgewall Innkeeper, Lovestruck Beast. That was a good draw. And all that glitters, I'm hoping for an all that glitters next turn. Well, I'm not hoping for a glass casket and all that glitters next turn. Because we can kill the Arcanist Owl. And then all that glitters goes away. It's only 6 power on it right now. But like, land, glass casket, and it's going to go on the Edgewall Innkeeper. Really? Okay, I kind of disagree with that. Because the Edgewall Innkeeper is going to draw a ton of cards. I don't know. Possibly that might be the right play. All the glitters on the Serpent. Yeah, that's a much worse target for us. So that was the reasoning. And now we are in bad shape. So can I get out of this? It's lethal on board. We can kill the Inquisitive Puppet. But then it just sacks itself. So I'm going to do this right now. I don't think there's a reason to wait because there could be some sort of pump spell. So we're going to Colossus on the Owl. And unfortunately, if we Bonecrusher Giant, we just lose our Bonecrusher Giant. So let's cast the Bonecrusher Giant. And that is not a card I wanted to see. So they did find that all that glitters. So I'm hoping that my opponent just has land in hand. So no attacks, unfortunately. Land, and Gideon Blackblade, which is almost as good as a land because we still get to, oh, that garbage Indestructible. I was like, that's fine, but Indestructible is something that is, ooh, interesting. So we'll take no blocks because we're actually okay here. And now we can attack into Gideon. Oh, that was a bad draw. And still have blockers back. So what do we need? Another red source? I think we need another green source here, right? Green, green, green. No, red's fine. So we attack both of these guys into Gideon. He'll have to get rid of the puppet. Which dumps it down to a 4/4. Still not where I want to be. Because now we're dealing with a Gideon. We have to chump block with an Edgewall Innkeeper. And then hopefully the Gnarlback Rhino will be at a point where... So, Edgewall Innkeeper and Rhino. But... we have to trade with the Stormcall Serpent if my opponent doesn't have... Plus, my opponent can just go... Okay, that's fine. The Owl... Unless the Owl finds a 1-drop. Wait, the Owl's an enchantment? Artifact creature. Yuck. That sucks. Yeah, that really sucks. We have to block with everything. No, I don't. I can keep one of them alive. So I'd go down to a... Yeah, that Owl's an artifact. Embercleave. I don't think Embercleave does a lot here. Then I die to trample. I think I'm dead here. So I attack here, it reduces it, and then I can re-equip it. Correct? And then the re-equip is a 3, and then I'd still take... Ay, ay, ay. If I attack just like this, I can't re-equip it. Because it's just 5. No, it's just fine. Just one attacker on Gideon. And they have Prison Realm coming up. Yeah, I'm pretty much screwed. Yeah, that does it. So, Embercleave. Yeah, I think I'm dead. I'm definitely dead. Well, I'll get rid of Gideon. And block. Yeah, we're just dead. That owl off the top. I mean, at that point, really anything off the top. We just need to avoid an all that glitters. Or at least, hopefully find a... Well, I guess the thing on the Stonecoat Serpent is we couldn't find an answer. Yeah, that was a close one, though. We're like one card off of something. We could start getting a bigger creature, possibly. Like, giving Indestructible, too, was very, very awkward. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I played that one wrong. Alright, so this is a terrible hand because we don't have green. I could basically YOLO this and hope for a green, but I think it's just better to ship it back. And now we're in the exact opposite end of the spectrum, but this deck is easier to utilize green mana than it is red mana. So I'm going to keep this one and still cry, but like either we have 8 cards that get us out of this. And that actually does get us out of this. So we'll actually start off... Yeah, we'll start with Castle Embereth because it allows us a Bonecrusher Giant something. I mean, I hate it, but... And we're going to be just a turn behind, especially if this is Sacrifice. I don't want to be Bonecrushing Giant that. I want a Priest to come out this turn. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And we'll just go ahead and shoot it off. Kapow. So now I don't want another Priest to come out because that's a little bit awkward. So I think we just go cast Lovestruck Beast or cast Bonecrusher Giant. Cast Bonecrusher Giant. Yuck. Cast double Lovestruck Beast. Bonecrusher, my opponent just puts another card, kills it. We go Lovestruck Beast. Thrash the Gutterbones? I actually don't like the Thrash the Gutterbones plan. I like this plan. They always have a Mayhem Devil, though. Oh, they don't have a Mayhem Devil. Huh. Claim. This gets around Claim. I'm going to go Gnarlback because this is the best payoff. Is Gnarlback. Had to read it. Ha! Love using bad cards. Because Gnarlback is definitely the best card. Let's just hope they don't have a removal spell for Gnarlback. I wish this was mirrored. Interesting on the Bonecrusher Giant on the... I think if our opponent does not put out 2 creatures here, we win. So this turn they need like a cat and a Mayhem Devil. So they got the mana for Bonecrusher Giant. And the problem is, too, they can sack... Yeah, we'll definitely be targeting. So Bonecrusher Giant and pass turn. Come on. You can do it. Yeah, that was the card I was hoping to avoid. Opponent can't attack, though. Had to be Acclaim the Firstborn, huh? Womp womp. And a Woe Strider. So the problem is I need a land here now. Okay, got the land. So we're out of this predicament. So we can go Lovestruck Beast. And I think I'd rather use my sorcery speed. And lucky for us, they haven't had a Midnight Reaper yet. Yeah, I'd rather do our sorcery speed. You are going to ambush you. And I mean, we're fairly decent shape. Opponent really can't. I don't know why my opponent didn't want to scry one. That was nice of our opponent. But another claim. When they have one claim, they have all four. So this is a claim, and then there's two more claims on top. Told ya. And that's just lethal. They always have it. So womp womp. Claim the Firstborn gets us, and we are eliminated from the mix. So we'll show the enigmatic deck. I'll give you a little bit of teaser. Do we break even here? Yes, we break even, so we get 3 cards. And look at that. Get 3 lousy uncommons to go to our pile of uncommons. Deck performed pretty well. I don't know what I'd change from it. I think it's pretty solid. There's not a lot of room. If there's any suggestions, definitely in the comment section below. And then I'm going to just tease you with this enigmatic. So this is the Enigmatic Incarnation. Is the card that was on my top 10 cards of cards I want to brew around from Theros. And the combination of this with Niv-Mizzet seems pretty good. So basically, it's just a bunch of tutors, like all value-based decks. You're going to get multiple triggers off of Yark the Desecrated, or Niv-Mizzet Reborn is going to find you a ton of cards. And I'll have to showcase this one. It's super-duper fun. Uses a little card, Leyland of Abundance, that you can really accelerate with Gilded Goose and Paradise Druid. Dryad of the Elysian Grove is neat in here too, because it's an enchantment creature that fixes. So you can go like Dryad into Niv-Mizzet no problem, which is really fun. And there is a bunch of other like random cards in this deck, but we'll have to show this one. This one has been performing quite well against other aggro mid-range based decks, because the value this deck can generate. But it will be a video for another day. I hope you enjoyed this video series for the revival of the Rogues Alley. We'll try to do these every Thursday. So we'll do Tuesday Brewsy on Tuesday with brews, and then Rogues Alley on Thursday. And we'll keep the regular scheduled stuff for the Rogue Deck Builder channel, like Market Monday. Probably we're going to shoot for 3 videos a week on Rogue Deck Builder. I think that's pretty good, pretty fair. Anyway, if you are interested in the market side of things, definitely come and check out my Rogue Market channel. And if you're interested more in the card store, behind-the-scenes type stuff, or just talking shop, come check out our Gone Rogue Games channel. We've started a channel over there. We're going to start doing product review. In fact, we're going to start crowdfunding a 4K camera. We really need it for product reviews. The camera we're doing right now doesn't get the best of lighting and whatnot. So I think that's our next plan, is to grab that and start doing some product reviews, because we have some awesome products coming up that I think are interesting to showcase you, the viewer. Anyway, this has been Kevin with the Rogue Deck Builder. Thanks for watching.